Well, we're live again. Today we went out as we kind of showed you. I got problems with the camera. It doesn't want to work very good. I'm gonna have to get another one. Um, Steve's airplane. We didn't know where it was going to start at. There's not enough propeller, and then come to find out, the timer took a crap, so we couldn't get another flight on it. So we got two flights on it. However, this airplane here, what the heck is that dinging? Marty. Can't talk now. Anyway, um, this airplane, I ran the engine for 6 minutes or whatever on the bench and put it up. I put it on the circle and flew it. It's absolutely perfect. This is the replacement for the Junar. It flies better than the Junar. So now it's all about dolling it up, making it super shiny. So this is the bone out. It's 5,000 grit sandpaper. The airplane tracks super good because it's on the nose heavy side, but turns super good because it's a light. It flies as good as a 40-ounce airplane. So Brett was right about not having to be 40 ounces to fly good, but it can't be 75 ounces either. So the 52-ounce weight of this, the performance is way up there. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Come right down and bang, right? It turns flat. So now it's all about getting out and practicing. I'm going to have to get my other camera, my movie camera set up so I can record my flights. I wish I could figure out how to get those tracings to work. But I should do better this year. I got another good airplane. I mean, I need to refinish the Junar. I mean, that served the wars for 7 years. That was built in 17. But they get to be long in the tooth after that many years. Plus, went through a refinishing too. It needs to be refinished again, and I will save that airplane. Now the yellow one or the orange one, it has I haven't taken it out since I've steamed the flap straight, but we're going to see. I mean, it's light too. It's 53 ounces. So we got one at 52 and one at 53. And I don't think an ounce difference is going to make that much of a difference. But this motor, this is the brand new one that I built online here. It ran flawless. I cannot complain. So you see, I've made this thing flat again. It's took all the shine right off of it. But that's what you got to do. My tape came in for painting, so we'll be painting tomorrow. What did I do with it? It just got delivered. And I can't believe I've lost it already. 1/8 fine line. Shit. I can't talk right now, and he's... Okay. Everybody wants to talk to me while I'm doing this. All the time. It's just unbelievable. What did I do with that tape? I went downstairs. Is that it there? Get your blue fine line from Amazon. It's cheaper than it's ever been. It's $11 a roll. I paid as much as $24 for it before, and it's gone. What the hell did I do with it? Came in this envelope here. It's not in there. Not in the can. I set it down somewhere, not paying attention to what I was doing. Shit. There it is. We got Amazon. $11 a roll. Good evening. This is a good deal. The part number is PN 06404. 1/8 blue fine line, 36 yards. "36 yards is a long ways, really. So we got a shiny spot here. It's got to get, I got to sand that out. All the shinies need to go away. But you got to be careful because there's not that much paint on this airplane. You could sand right through the clear, and then you got a disaster. In order to make this like the Monado, it's just going to be a lot of rubbing because I don't have that spray shine. I think we ought to get a K factor. No spray shine, more points. It's almost out of there. Got to be really careful. Yeah, my head has a shiny spot too. So Wendy came out with another video I put on there. Wendy, quit thinking about airplanes. Start building again. He came out with his tribute. He didn't answer me. He mentioned me though in his video about motorcycle. I got it right there. That's almost. I don't want to go anymore though. I'm afraid I'll go through the clear if I keep sanding there. And I am sanding. This is 5,000 grit. If you don't think you can sand through with 5,000, you'd be mistaken. I expect this year is going to be a good year. Let me tell you why. Normally, over the past few years, I've been battling with not having an airplane ready to go by the time the Nats comes around, by the time practice season comes around. First contest of the season. First contest of the season is Brodak. And for us guys in the Midwest, with the crap weather, there's not a whole lot of time to practice. Well, when I was working in Dayton, I was too damn tired to go flying after work. Of course, the boss, he was ready to go. Well, yeah, he sat in the office all damn day. I was out in the hot shop. So practice started for me at Brodak. Well, this year I have 7 ready to go. 7 airplanes that are capable. This one here is the best one out of the bunch so far. Now the yellow one, or the orange one, if I get that flap straight, which I think I did, but I got to take it out and test it, and it flies better, that will be the air. I can't see how it could though. That will be the airplane I take to the Nats. But I got 2 that are exactly the same that I can practice with. I'll probably practice with the orange one if they seem to fly pretty much the same. That orange one had a slight problem with the wing. You know, when I turned it, it would raise the wing because the flap was warped. If I get that one to fly at the same as this one, which it should, I'll practice that one and save this one for the Nats. But until then, until I get that fixed, I'm going to take them both out to the field. This one and the orange one. I think the Junar is kind of retired until it comes around. So when you're doing this Zen sanding, like right now, I just noticed I got some shiners right up here. You got to sand all them shiners out. And it sucks that you're back to sanding. You know, I've sanded so damn much on this thing already. But if I want it to be like the Monado, I'm going to take mucho sanding. Like I say, you know, there should be a K factor. Hey, yo! You know, anybody can build an airplane and put half a gallon of spray shine on it and make it pretty. But can you take dope, make it pretty and light? Billy is the master of that. I think he'd be very impressed with this airplane, especially how it flies. This airplane is a aerodynamics from the 90s. I was working on those projects in the 90s, continually making them better. It's just a good thing I could remember all the numbers. Got the shoe airfoil in it. Okay, that's pretty dull, I think. And now we'll get some finesse it on it. Yeah. It's about 5 times too much. Better spread it around so don't sling it all over the damn place. And this is the hardest, longest part. This takes about a year of rubbing to get them all squared away. Wouldn't take that long with spray shine. It'd take 1 quart and buff it, sand it, and buff it and polish it, and that'd be it. But you give up lots of weight. And I want to see the guy who says it only adds an ounce. Show me. Better put some more on there. Kind of dry. I think it's polished like the bowling ball. I'm doing this. That's right. I'm doing this part because this is the easiest part. I'll do the wings off camera. No car wax. Well, I'll wax it after I get it finished, but this is polishing compound. So this is the tune-up right here. Tuning up the paint. Looks like hell, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Let's see, I got that out of it. Yeah, yep, I got it out. That's good. I made a call today to the Old School Model Shop channel. Let me see if that's right. We're going to do a collaboration, him and I, just like Frank did. Now, this guy here, he's part of the or was part of the AMA advertising section. It's called the Old School Model Works. They're out of Cincinnati. And he asked me, he's a laser cutter. He asked me what my guys would be interested in. Kits or parts or whatever. And with as tough as things are in this hobby, we need to support him. He's only got like 1,200 members, subscribers. I'll give you his channel. I want you guys, everybody, to go over there and subscribe to him. He's doing shorts. You know, I don't think he's going to attract a whole lot of attention with 1-minute videos. But he does all, you know, the Facebook and the Snapchat and all that. So I don't know. You guys know how I feel about Facebook. But I called him up and had a good conversation. And we're going to do some type of collaboration. So you guys need to think, what kind of stuff would you like to see him cut? You know, he can cut plywood. I told him, my guys would like to see the hinges. You know, we might be able to get him laser cutting hinges, except I got to tell you, now I use Southridge CNC, but from what I understand, he's retired. He don't want to do nothing or do much. And the reason I use Southridge CNC is laser cutting burns the wood, and I'll have to ask him what we can do about that. Anyway, we can get some hinges. Howard laser cut me some hinges, and they kind of had burn edges on them. You know, I think we're going to use this other 3M compound. Need something a little more aggressive. Need to bring out the shine. This ain't cheap. Ain't none of this stuff cheap anymore. Ooh, it smells good though. It smells just like chemicals. Yeah. So very first flight I took, I did not do a reverse wing over, but I took it, did insides, inverted flight, outsides, squares, triangles, figure eights, square eights, hourglass. I didn't do any overheads because it was kind of blustery in the wind. But I can tell right up front by the way it squares and the way that it does triangles when it comes around and lays flat on that bottom. I could tell that this is it. I mean, it locks in. We got a good groove. The corner's right there where it needs to be. So I'm an extremely happy camper. Got no stupid hinge tape on it. Do that to this turtleneck too. Sando the Bondo. So this is basically what I'm doing tonight. I see we got 17 watchers. Hopefully we got 17 thumbs up. Tomorrow is going to be painting. We are going to tape out the profile and paint it. That way I'll have a profile for events so I can fly this airplane in 2 events and then the profile. So if I take 3 airplanes, I can fly 4 events. Let's see. Profile. 3 airplanes is 4 events. Profile, the Continental for Classic. This one for N30 and Pampa. And I'm more than happy with that. Worked out well this year. You guys got any questions? I know that's kind of boring to sit and watch me rub an airplane out, but that's what needs to be done. Well, I asked him if he could cut 1/8-inch aircraft fly. He said yes. We'll wait till we get a collab going and see what he can do exactly. But what I want you to do is I'm gonna get his channel. I'm gonna post it in the chat here. And I want you to go subscribe to him after this video and leave a comment. Now, they're not really shorts, they're videos, but they're only a minute and some long. And just put in his now this will go a long way to help us out. Put in his messages Stunhanger sent me. Kind of like we did for Little History. And Frank's Model Workshop. I need to collab with him again and see what. I wish the hell he would have told me how to monocoat the first time. You know, I don't do monocoat, so the job was, acceptable. Better than it was, but I know that Lou Rankin and some of them monocoat guys can smoke me at monocoat. But that's not my forte. This is my dope is my forte. I like the baby grand piano look. Well, my Southbridge CNC hinges are perfect. There's no charred, no charring, no chips. But like I said, he's not doing it. I mean, I got him to do it the last time because I order a shit pile of them. I think I have enough left to last my lifetime. I think, as long as I don't give them away. There's got to be at least 30 more airplanes. I don't know if I can build 30 more in a lifetime or not. Do I have 30 in me? We'll see. Get that smuts off the bottom. It's kind of oily. So it can hover like a bislab. Well, make sure you point the motor out about 10 degrees. Make anything work. I mean, you're going to have to point the motor out, though, really far. And have a powerful engine. If it's heavy and it's that big, that's what makes a bislab work, is it's light for a Fox 35 and it's got a ton of engine offset. We're going to have to get some stuff on this, or we're going to have burns. Now, here's another thing. If you're going to buff with a buffer, do not buff dry. It will burn the paint and you'll be crying. Now, this pad is dry. So get some compound on it, and what that does, it acts like lubricant to keep from burning the paint. I start out slow because I don't want to fling this shit all over the shop, especially all over me. But you got to build some heat in the paint to get it to melt. Dope is plastic. I'm just hitting the trouble areas now where I think it could use it. It's going to need, it'll be, before the gnats, it'll be sanded out and done once again all over. It'll take 4 or 5 times. To really make it nice. John, what is a good starting point for location of lead outs on a new Nobler? A good starting point for lead out position is 1 inch behind the center of gravity. So if you measure center of gravity here, your lead out should be 1 inch back from that, measured from the trailing edge. If you measure from the leading edge, it'll be too far forward. So what you do is, here's the balance point, measure from the trailing edge to the balance point, take off 1 inch. Ooh, almost poked through the wing. Take off 1 inch, and that's where they should be. You just run it out, parallel line all the way out to the tip. And that's a good starting point. You probably should start, I don't know how you built it, but start with at least a 1/2 ounce of wingtip weight. You can always take it out. I mean, I usually only end up with a 1/4 ounce in my airplanes, but I use all the heavy wood on the outboard side. And, you know, I'm building that tip weight in throughout the build, you know, building the trimming in throughout the build. And by the time you're done, if you bench trim it, meaning you look at the you look and make sure the flaps are equal and there's not any goofy warps in them like my orange one had. Should be able to take it out on the very first flight and do a pattern. like this one, I ran the motor, one full tank, and just let it run where I thought the RPM was right. And it's a brand new engine, no break-in, just one run. And the next flight, put it up. You go for it. It'll run perfect. I'm not a believer in bench running those things for hours and hours and hours. One tank full to make sure that it runs. And put it in the air and start flying it. That's up to me. I mean, that's my way of doing things. I'm sure Randy would go, "You can't do that." Well, I've done it with everything, and it seems to work. I do things. No, the center of the lead outs. Yeah, the center of the lead out should be 1 inch behind the center of gravity. That's a starting point. You'll know if it's too far forward or too far back after a test flight. But I would wager to say that it's going to be pretty close. Half ounce of tip weight, 1 inch behind the center of gravity. Best to have a little droop in the elevators too. Yeah, all kits tell you where the CG is, should be, but just figure 30%, 25 to 30% of the wing. So if you got a 10-inch wing, it's going to be 2.5 inches back from the leading edge, 2.5 to 3 inches back. Start out on the nose heavy side, come forward. This airplane balances way forward, and I can get away with that because it's so light. My theory behind running a far forward center of gravity is directional stability in the wind. If you have an airplane that you have to run tail heavy to get it to turn, when you come around into the wind, it's floating. That ain't no good. That ain't no good in my book. Let's see. Feels like we're getting hung up there. We'll be fine. Okay. So I won't bore you too much with this type content, me sanding, buffing. It's just kind of ridiculous for me to do that. But I figured tonight I'd give you the flight report, tell you how it went. My timeout went much better than Steve's, stupid electrics. The timer took a crap. But there again, Randy, he runs PAs, and he can tell you, use this prop, this pipe length, this fuel, with this size venturi, set it at this RPM, and it'll run perfect. And trust me, it will run perfect if you set it like Randy tells you. I've been doing Super Tiger 60s 30 years. If you run it the way I run it, it will run absolutely perfect every time. I don't tack it. I just turn it in till it starts to crackle, between a 4-stroke and a 2-stroke. 13.6 propeller, the Randy Smith Venturi. The tongue mufflers don't run as good as the tube mufflers. You don't have quite as much horsepower, but I do drill out the holes. I try to make them as flow through as possible. I run 10, 10, 10, 10% clutch, 10% caster, 10% nitromethane in the summer, 5% in the winter. And they run the same, just growl right along. And then when you point the nose up, it'll give you a crack. Whoa, you know. And with these Brian Gardner liners, I can't talk good enough about them. If I'd have known what I know now, I'd have had Brian Gardner liners in them years ago. I've only been running them since 17. But a stock Super Tiger, bone stock, you don't need it reworked, breathed on by Randy or Tom Lay or bone stock Super Tiger will run exactly the same. 13.6 rev up is the best, but 13.6 propeller, they're really probably only turning about 8,700 RPM, maybe 80. I can't tell, you know, just that's the RPM that I let them go at. And use that prop, the Venturi, and the fuel that I suggest. And I do like the Randy Smith spray bar needle valve because it has 80 threads per inch instead of a Super Tiger 40 threads per inch. What does that get you? It gets you better tuning, finer tuning. So if you're ever going to buy one part for your engine, oh yeah, you can run. I run them all the way up to 15%. You could run more, but it eat the nose off your airplane. But you don't really need to. As the heat picks up, no higher oil, it would be the same. It would be Sig Champion fuel, 10, 10, 10, or 10, 10, 5, or 10, 10, 7.5. Technoplate, that stuff I showed you is $25 a quart. You don't need any magic snake oil, none of that shit. That's what gives it red color, the clots. Good castor oil, food grade castor oil, methanol, and 10% nitro, or 5%, or whatever you're going to run. But make sure you get that 10% castor, 10% clots in there. They'll run on 0 nitro, but you got to take all the head shims out of them, and they don't run very good. Minimum 5%. If it's charging too hard, you can add a head shim, but it shouldn't. You know, I run mine with one head shim. I think they're about 20 thousandths, somewhere in there. This one here has the Brian Gardner Hemi head on it. And that was well worth it too. Big difference. So that's all I got for this evening. I'm just gonna sit here and watch TV and rub. Sand and rub. And tomorrow we'll start painting. We'll get that profile finished up. It shouldn't take but maybe 4 sessions. You know, we'll tape it. The taping will be the longest session. The painting will be 2 minutes. It'll take me 2 days to tape and 2 minutes to paint, depending what I got. And I don't know what I'm going to do for a paint job on that, but it'll come to me. You know, Something simple. I don't want to get too crazy. It's just a profile. I'm hoping it flies right off the bench too. It's straight. It should be fine. It's relatively light. Grab that down here and let's look at this and try to get a sight picture of what we're gonna do. I've got to fix the rudder. I got to put some white on the rudder. I think this is heavier than my built-up one. Of course, I didn't use good wood in this. I just used RC wood. Not many beam wing profiles around. Got dust all over it. Look at that. I'll have to use the wax and grease remover on this. That shit was $80 a gallon. Unreal. More expensive than a thinner. I think I got hosed. Dusty. So, what can I do? Yeah, I'll be there at Denny's in May. And then Brodax. So we got an extra contest this year. Will you live up there, John, by Denny? Well, hell, what are we gonna do here? My mind is at a blank. Michigan West Side. So you're a long ways away from Denny. But I'll be there. If the creek don't rise. I guess they're going to fly profile there, so we'll be able to fly this. I'll start out on 60-foot lines on this. It's only a wimpy 46. We're running a 11.6 EW rev up on this. This will that's the correct prop for Super Tiger 46. Isn't it a bitch we can't get that stuff no more? God. All the good stuff you can't get no more. That's why next time I go by Wicks, I'm stopping at the lumber yard and buying another 30 foot of beam material. 64 foot. That airplane flies good on 64 foot. He just needs some more poop, some more smoke. You know, when I trimmed it the first time, when it was a Vector, I think I had a 12-inch propeller on it. And Will tomorrow said to run a 10-inch propeller. So that's what we went to. And that ain't enough. So we're going to try 11.65 APC and spin up the motor some more. But I'm pretty confident it's going to be a good flyer because when I watched it, the wings were level. It had good responsive. When the motor quit, didn't drop the tail, so it ain't tail heavy. It looked like, you could get it to turn pretty easy. Only time will tell. Well, it's got to warm up around here for me. They're saying how warm it was today. Shit, it was 62 degrees. It was freezing. Not bad for junk. I mean, we took junk and made it into an airplane. Most guys that crash an airplane, that shit ends up in the can. But if you got a good wing, save the wing, and you can always build a fuselage. If you got a wing that's broke and it's mostly all air, you can. Hey, Bob's RC. If you got a wing that's broke, you can repair that wing and put it back in the same fuselage. There's no need to scrap everything, depending on how bad it's broke. Like I crashed that Thunderbolt in 2005, Thunderbolt number 2, from an hourglass. It hit the concrete, and it disintegrated into pieces no bigger than a quarter. I'm not going to bother trying to fix that. This airplane here, the Simply Blues that I'm flying, if it hits the ground, it'll be pieces no bigger than a quarter. So I don't know what we're going to do with this one yet. As far as a paint scheme, I'm going to just start laying tape tomorrow. I'll think about it tonight. And we'll lay tape tomorrow. If it was warmer, we'd be going back out to the field and giving the orange one a whirl to see how it's going. I also got the Aegis set up and ready to go. I think that motor is going to be okay now. This one here, this airplane here, I built in Dayton in my little apartment. And it doesn't have much use on it yet. I kind of burned the paint right there. I'm going to have to repair this spot here. But this airplane here is the same numbers as the June RXL that I like. But I got to tell you, after flying the Viper today, bringing back memories from the 90s, the Viper is a much better design airplane than this. This airplane is 58 ounces, and the PA-65, 58 ounces. I think that's what it was. Just look. Let's look. And it flew okay. I was having motor problems with this. Now, I might end up getting a Rojet, because you can't get a PA, but I can get a Rojet for it if I want to spend $500. But I'd really like to get some more flight time on it to see if it's going to be a valid platform. 59 ounces according to this scale. $59 there. But that ain't bad. 54 on his little airplane. It weighs more than my Viper. I have 740 square inches on the Viper, 52 ounces. And his little airplane, the Vector, I don't know the exact square inches, but if I had to guess, it'd probably be like, thank you. If I had to guess, his Vector's around 550, 600 squares. Yeah, Aegis works good. I'm hoping that orange Viper is going to be okay. It's a pretty airplane. I had a twist in the flap. So if you were paying attention to one of my streams, I took the steamer and took the twist out of the flap. And if I can't get it out, I'll cut the flap off and make a new one. But they ain't going to be built up. They're going to be solid. I ain't doing no more damn built up flaps. The new Viper I'm building has solid flaps. How much do you think this flap weighs here? This is unobtainium wood here. This flap weighs, gotta tear it, 1/2 ounce. Mode, yeah, 15 grams. This one here is the wider one. It weighs 20 grams. So this is the outboard flap here. It's bigger at the tip. See how much wider the tip is? It's a 1/4 inch wider. I'll cut it 3/16 probably. Shorter but more area. And you kind of want to do that to see how much more area there is. Of course, the camera don't show it very well. But we'll thin that out some. Some of the things I've learned over the years, and you always want to drop your lead outs below the center line of the wing. Don't come straight out. The weight is slung underneath the wing, underneath the lateral center of gravity. The wheels are hanging down there, so you want to drop your lead outs, especially on a piped airplane. Drop your lead outs under the center line of the wing. You know, you can do what you want, but I'm telling you what I do. Makes a big difference. Wingtip weight box should be in direct line. A direct line from the plotted center of gravity, the lead out location, through the bell crank pivot straight out to the tip. So normally what's going to happen is your wingtip weight box is going to be as far forward as possible, unless you got some really goofy arrangement like I got here with the swept forward trailing edge. That's a concept that I've used. It moves the center of pressure forward. Center of gravity can be farther forward, but it's not really a valid concept unless you've experimented and worked with a swept forward trailing edge. Now, Bob Hunt's Crossfire has an extreme swept forward trailing edge, but he's done all the development on it, and it seems to work. If you guys are looking for a set of Viper plans, those are still for sale. All you got to do is go on Stunhanger, drop me a message, send me a PayPal, and I'll send them right to you. And you just download them on a thumb drive, take them to UPS store, and have them printed on paper. And you can have one of these Vipers. I'd love to see 100 of them built. And you guys will, if you can build them light, you'll absolutely love it. Light and straight. Just follow my my lead on. Everybody always bugged me. Where's the Viper plans? Where's the Viper plans? So I come up with them. I think we sold about 5 sets. It's only 30 years in the making. All right, that's going to do it for me for this evening. I'm going to take this back off the wall, start sanding and rubbing and watching TV. So we'll see you tomorrow. We're going to start painting. So till then, fair winds, tight lines. See ya.